What is up, and welcome to Hanson Athletics Radio. Today we have Justin Zizumbo dropping on. He is a local CrossFit affiliate owner in Salt Lake City, Utah. He's been with the brand and training for quite a while, so I wanted to have him on to talk about, the experience with everything that's going on with the Black Lives Matter and CrossFit's statement on that, and all the de-affiliation that's going on and the emotions that he's having with it, as I know he's a very loyal person to this brand and has had a lot of life-changing experience with it. So we're going to have Justin on today to talk about that, and I hope it gives you guys a good insight into maybe some different perspectives on the situation and how people are dealing with it.
Times, man.
Absolutely crazy times. And I wanted to get you on because I know, first off, you're usually a pretty level-headed decision-making person. Second off, CrossFit's been out of everyone I know that owns a CrossFit gym, I would say that you have always defended it the most and found a lot of value in the name, right? And really backing it up and believing in it and believing in. I'm sure the conversation will go towards, the separation of the methodology and the brand.
Yeah, for sure.
But I kind of wanted to get your take on, everything that's going on, and it's just been wild. I mean, this whole year's been wild, right? So it goes from coronavirus to, a lot of things are being heard now that maybe have been swept under the rug for a while. Black Lives Matter, but then as a company, people have to take stances, and obviously there's been a huge just vocal opinion of different people in the community that are very have been around CrossFit since it started, right? That are taking stances and stuff. So I kind of want to just hear from you, what the experience has been, kind of emotionally what it's been for you, as well as for your gym, and what your thoughts are and stuff.
I feel like it's almost best to answer that question personally.
Yeah.
And then slowly get into me as a business owner and me as a CrossFit coach and CrossFit gym owner. Right. Yeah. Personally, I think my just Justin Zizumbo, my response to all of this is tensions are super high right now. Everyone's emotions are just really we're all experiencing turmoil. And when I say all of us, I do not at all compare myself to what a black man or black woman is experiencing. I can't compare it. I've reached out to some of my black friends and friends of color just to try to get a little bit of insight and practice some empathy. And it's impossible for me to compare situations. Let's go backwards though, with the whole COVID thing. Nobody, well, I don't want to say nobody, but very few people saw that coming, and that all hit us slapped us in the face, and we all had to just react and respond and fly by the seat of our pants and just make things work. And that created all sorts of turmoil in our minds and in our souls and in our bodies physically. That was difficult on everyone worldwide, which was, I don't want to use the word cool, but which was the particular thing about that situation is it wasn't Utah. I'm in Salt Lake City. It wasn't the Western states. It wasn't even specific to America. It was worldwide. Everybody was being affected by this pandemic. So yeah, that, and it's still, the thing is numbers are still going up. And so that's I don't really want to share my political views on that or anything, but COVID-19 is still a thing.
Yeah.
It's not being talked about really. And so, yeah, I don't want to really go down that hole, and then, yeah, to be completely frank, and I had this conversation with one of my friends of color, this whole Black Lives Matter movement and everything that transpired to start that. I don't watch the news intentionally, and I don't pay attention to current events consciously, because I think for the most part it's unhealthy, and it's misinformation.
Yeah, I
So
agree.
I was behind the curve. Like I know who George Floyd was and I know what happened, but I don't like when I hear other people talk about this stuff, there's like these other murders and these other situations that happen and there's others' names that are being thrown out there. And you could call me naive, you could call me arrogant, you could call me ignorant, but that I don't know. I don't like
Yeah.
I don't
Well,
I
I don't either. Like in terms of like, I went to support it. I went, my fiance, she wanted to go to one of the rallies. So we went to one here in Pocatello. And of course, like where I live, I tell her all the time, I'm like, I don't know what I don't know. Like, I don't see a lot of it here because there's not, like, it's predominantly Caucasian people in Idaho and in my
yeah.
town. So there's a lot of support there. And it was led by some African American Black people that had experienced it in my town. And I'm like, wow, I was blind to all that in terms of I never really have seen that. B, like I don't follow the news either. So like they were chanting name and I'm like, I don't even know what any of these situations are. And yeah, maybe it is, um, maybe it is ignorance or I don't know, but I feel
Yeah.
like if I was to sit there and worry about everything watching the news, it's like, there's always something to worry about. So how do you go about and be successful in your day to day if you just are always taking in all this stuff that is twisted and you watch one news channel and it's a completely different story than the other news channel. So
Yeah. And I mean, I don't know if it's fair to label you and I as like ignorant or arrogant, and I'm not really sure the difference of the words to be honest, but more of just like not aware, right?
yeah,
And that's white privilege. Like that is like that's the definition of white privilege. Like we don't have to deal with it on a day-to-day basis. And for the most part, white people don't see it, right? We don't see acts of racism. We're not treated poorly by systems, not just, and I'm not going to say the police because it's systematic. It's not just
yeah,
the police. So we're mostly treated with respect and so are our friends, and we don't deal with it on a day-to-day basis. And I'm lucky enough to have studied social work. So I have a master's of social work, and a lot of the classes that I took like had open discussions and dialogue. And I wrote a paper. I remember I wrote a paper about my privilege. So I had to do like a evaluation of where I sit, and I identify as a Mexican American and a Hispanic and white male. And so my whole life, and this is like the most privileged that, and it's kind of, can I swear?
yeah, for sure.
It's kind of fucked up because like I feel like I am even more privileged than a white person, because at times I found myself, especially in high school, playing football with like a lot of poly buddies. I would like identify with people of color,
Yeah,
and because I can be of color and I can be white, and it,
yeah,
like it, right, if I went to church, or I was at a meeting, or I was presenting a paper in school or something, and it was a predominantly white situation, then I could put like my white hat on, right?
yeah,
But then when it behooved me, I could put my Mexican hat on. And a lot of people thought I was poly because I was like a little bit bigger and
yeah,
I was athletic, and I hung out with a lot of polys in high school. So it was a really eye opening experience for me, writing that whole thing, writing that paper, and just realizing like, man, like I we were taught what white privilege looks like, what systemic racism is. So all these words that are coming up in the society today, and like I don't want to sound bigoted or anything, but like I've known about that stuff for a long time. And that's almost the sad part, is because as a social worker, I found it really hard to have any change at a systemic level, at a large level. Like I could have impact on it with my clients one on one, or even in a small group setting, but I was overwhelmed by the systemic social work stuff. So I chose to not pursue work in that world. Um, and and then as a person, when I've since left the social work field and I'm a full-time coach. As a person, I've like chose to ignore that, not ignore, but not. I guess I've chose to like just kind of keep to my own,
Yeah.
and so up until Greg Glassman's lovely decision making, and I say that with sarcasm in my voice. Up until that point, the Black Lives Matter movement had I been able to keep it out of my realm. I'm getting a bunch of feedback.
You're good now. Yeah, you just cut out a little bit.
I'm getting feedback on your end.
Oh, really?
I can hear the people around you.
Is that a little better?
Yeah, at least I don't know. And if they start talking again, but it's so yeah. Up until, I guess, to just be frank, up until CrossFit was labeled racist, like the Black Lives Matter movement hadn't affected me personally. And I'd chosen at the time, up until this last weekend, I'd chosen as a business owner to not yet say anything, mostly because I didn't know like what I should say. I'm like pretty I'm not plugged into like all the hashtags and like what all the stuff means, and so it wasn't like a conscious decision to not address it, but more of like I'm gonna like wait and try to understand, and then like when I feel like I understand where I fit into all this, then I'll choose to speak out. And so I guess Greg gave me the opportunity, like if I want to look at it as like a pure optimist, like that those comments and the internet bashing CrossFit and labeling CrossFit as a whole racist gave me an opportunity to like speak up. And so since that, it's almost been empowering to some degree to like have a voice and have a reason to have a voice, not right. Like up until then I was like, well, yeah, I love everybody. Like I don't love bad people. I don't love people that are mean, right? Like,
yeah.
So, but like how do I do that? Like, how do I support? Like, what do I do? How do I say it? What,
Yeah.
And the real interesting piece of information or feedback that I've gotten, it was just yesterday. I called one of my best friends. I consider him a mentor more than anything. But I think he would consider me a friend, and great dude, black man. And I just wanted to get some feedback at like what would he like me as a Mexican American, a Hispanic and white man, and a small business owner, what would he like me to do? And I just explained to him kind of what I explained to you, that I didn't know what to do, and was I guess a little like not scared but unsure what to say and what to do. And he gave me a little bit of insight as to that's what like black people are experiencing too right now, right? Like he has these conversations with his black friends that are calling each other out. Like, you should have been at that rally. Like, so the pressure that I feel not knowing what to say or what to do isn't even a fraction of what it would be if I was a black man, right? So then that hit me when he explained that to me. I'm like, damn, I'm over here feeling bad for myself. And again, I'm able, like, my white privilege allows me to be silent, to be quiet.
Yeah.
Right. That community, that people of color are expected to speak out. So if you don't speak out, and
you're almost choosing a side. Yeah.
Yeah. You identify as a person of color. That's even bigger than a white person not speaking out. So that was pretty eye-opening.
Yeah. And that's interesting because I didn't even think about that until you just brought that up. And we're very similar in the sense that, I mean, as this all started to come out, I wasn't really switched on to it, started getting switched on. And I'm like, I obviously, I didn't have the schooling in terms of like, I didn't even realize there was as much systematic racism in terms of like, you kind of know it in the back of your head, but you don't really know like the statistics and how it all compiles and whatnot. And that to me is just so daunting. Like, I've talked to my fiance so much about this, and I'm like, like, what can I even really do to change this? It's just so big. It's like, I don't feel like I can do anything. So it's like finding that fine line of, I'm the same. Like, I've always tried to treat everybody the same. I've trained people of all different ethnicities, nationalities, whatnot. And I've never like treated one on purpose. Maybe I don't know, but I've never
Yeah.
felt like I've purposely like thought they were lesser because of anything like that. So I've always just tried to be a kind person. And I'm the same. I just don't like people that are mean or bad or like do bad things. Right. But I was just so lost at what I could do or what I could say that would even help. So I actually jumped the gun because I'm not as smart as you. And I put out like something in support of Black Lives Matter, but then I also said, like, I also don't hate all cops. I'm like thankful for cops. So I said, like, I'm also thankful for police force that serves us honorably. And I actually got a ton of backlash on that on the Instagram. Like, people were like, how could you even be talking about the cop? Like, just, and I was like, man, I'm just trying to, support you, but also like, I know all cops aren't bad either.
Yeah.
So it's just like a tough spot to be in terms of like what to say to actually help them or help the movement. But also, like, I don't want people killing cops because they think all of them are bad or
Yeah.
flipping over a cop car. I'm just like, I don't know, man.
Yeah. It's hard because everyone, and we can kind of segue this into CrossFit, but it feels like everyone right now is trying to label, like, you are good, you are bad, you are black, you are white, you are for Black Lives Matter, you're not, you're for the cops, you're not. And none of those topics can be so transparent. Like, it can't be like that. And, and in no way, I feel like when I say that, I'm trying to downplay what's going on, because that's not what I'm trying to do. But we can't take sides. There shouldn't be sides. There should be like movement forward. All of us, none of us are perfect, and we all have biases. Like, and that's when you said, well, maybe I've treated people differently. Like, that's the definition of an implicit bias, like something that I don't know that I'm doing, that I'm just doing. And it's like, it was created by the way we were raised and the culture that we came up in. We all have it. And it's the only way to move forward with it is to start by being aware of it. Like, wow, here's a really kind of funny example. When I go down to Delta to spend time with my fiance's family, her name's Trish. They are farmers, like rural individuals who speak with kind of a draw, like a cowboy draw. And by the end of the weekend, I'll notice myself speaking like that, like using words and phrases that they are. And sometimes I like notice it. I'm like, I did not, like, that almost sounded like I was mocking them. And I hope that they didn't like feel, but I think that kind of, those kind of implicit or unconscious decisions or actions that I have is because I used to, and growing up, I was white, I was Mexican.
You would kind of just fit in or
I was like
choose
fluid.
Whatever.
Yeah. And so like when I'd hang out with my poly buddies, I would quickly be like, oh bro, like, what's up? And it's like, I wasn't trying to like mock them, or I wasn't trying to like go over the top to fit in, but it's like, that's how they talk to each other. And then that's how they'd like say hi to me. And so like, then I just like slowly like started saying hi to them that same way. So yeah, it's hard because we all make mistakes. And that's what the first thing I'll say about Greg is he's been a bad leader for a long time.
I feel like there's been a lot, even like people that are closer to HQ that didn't get out to the public that are like, there's been a lot of upper level, maybe Greg, maybe a couple other people that have said stuff like this, and it just hasn't been open to the public, and it just hasn't been great leadership or an example of that big of a company. Like, you just can't, when you're that big of a company and you have that much influence and people are paying you money to represent them, you just can't do that. Right.
Yeah. It's almost just I don't know. I'm pausing for a couple of reasons. Cause one, I don't want to like gloss over the conversation we were just having about biases. And I hope that I didn't offend anybody in what I said. Like, and if I did, I'm open to feedback, because the only way I can grow is if someone calls me out. So if you have some information and I'm saying something wrong, call me out, please do. But I like CrossFit as a organization, as headquarters. Like I've seen it all the time. I've seen it within the gym that I own. Like CrossFit grew so fast that they didn't know what to do with it, right? Like go back to OG, like CrossFit.com, and then the games just like blew up, and it was like, what? All these people are showing up, and they just kind of like learned as they went. They never once like sat down on paper and were like, this company is gonna have 200,000 affiliates all over the world. We're gonna right? Like it just, the demand kept forcing CrossFit to grow. And I just don't think that, I don't know if this is fair to say, because I don't really know Greg, but from my perspective, it seems like Greg is a brilliant mind. He's I mean, the level 1 guide, in my opinion, is basically gospel. Like it's truth when it comes to fitness, and all of his like philosophies and explaining fitness and wellness and health, like that stuff is top notch. So he's very, very smart. He's a great coach, and he inspires people, right? So I don't necessarily know if he ever wanted or ever wanted to run an organization as large as CrossFit, right?
Yeah.
Like people are like, we should put this stuff on the internet. Like, okay, what's the internet? Like I've heard stories like that, and they're like, it's this place that you can go on your computer and I'm going to create you a website. We're going to call it CrossFit.com, and these workouts that you're writing, I'm going to put them up there, and let's just see what happens. And now, if you go to CrossFit.com, it's this whole thing, man. Like CrossFit is not just the affiliates, it's not just the training, it's not just .com, it's not just HQ, it's the health movement. Like now they're like releasing trainings for doctors, and like they do. There's so many little pieces, and I think that some of the quick decision making, the rash decision making, in my opinion, the poor leadership that's existed within CrossFit is just they've just made mistakes, and their mistakes, because they're so big, affect so many people. Right? Yeah. Like I think they could have changed the whole regionals into sanctionals, the whole games format better. They didn't really involve the athletes. They've ever since I've known, they've been a company that have lacked consistent communication and transparent communication from them to their affiliate, to their employees, from like the Buttery Bros and Tommy and Sean and all those dudes that were fired from the media team. They like basically feel like they were never really in the loop when they were working for them. And then the affiliates, like I've heard that from so many affiliates, that they never hear from CrossFit. Like they don't, like the information they get from CrossFit is from social media, the same way the world gets their information from CrossFit.
Yeah.
Right.
And that was a question I had for you, because I'm not an affiliate, or if I ever ran one. I was curious, outside of like branding and, the draw of marketing of CrossFit. I mean, I didn't know if HQ provided like affiliates with continuing education or materials or anything like that in terms of like a community of affiliates as, added value.
Yeah, I've got a lot to say in that regards. And you mentioned at the start of our conversation, like that you've noticed how I've just always defended and like passionately had CrossFit's back, even before I owned an affiliate.
Yeah.
So I hope to touch on that at some point. The first thing I'll say in regards to what does headquarters offer to their affiliates, I want to like make this completely clear, is $3,000 is like a drop in the bucket. Like that is and I know that maybe some of you listening like don't agree, but when you're running a business, like $3,000 is not a lot of money. And so for an affiliate to say, I'm paying you $3,000, like if I went to a professional marketing firm, even just somebody that wanted to take over my marketing on social media and they wanted to give me this plan, it would be way more than $3,000 a year. Right. So like the affiliates are like, CrossFit doesn't do anything for my $3,000. It's like, how often do you go to CrossFit.com? Because that's what they're putting out all that information for you. And so everything that I've heard CrossFit expects of their affiliates is to constantly be checking CrossFit.com. And I've heard of affiliates like I think this is really cool. I've chosen to not yet do it, or not do it this way, mostly because my environmental efforts. But I've heard of gyms like printing off the article of the week and like giving it to their members, like, hey, read this, we're going to talk about it next week. Like CrossFit just put this out, like, and just like share. Like we're almost, as an affiliate, I see myself as ambassador of like what headquarters is doing. And then what I feel like I'm paying for is like that word, like, right. Like to be able to like throw CROSSFIT on my t-shirts and my walls, and then like affiliate with them in the larger sense.
Because I mean, honestly, like if you look at the numbers as a business owner, it's like that is super honest. So I do I'm a marketing director. I'm at the physical therapy clinic right now, and they pay me a lot more than $3,000 a year to do some of this stuff, and not even at the level CrossFit's doing it. Right. So in terms of like, it's totally worth it, just in a sense of, if CrossFit is representing well and people are walking in your doors solely because you're a CrossFit, and they're at least interested because they are interested in the brand of CrossFit and the style of training. I mean, out that alone, getting people to walk in your doors, even if you got 5 new clients a year, that totally pays back the money. So,
and this is, affiliate people might just think I'm an idiot, but whatever. In my opinion, we as CrossFit affiliates have lost what the model was supposed to be. Like the model was like how Greg, and I hate to refer to him at this time, but let's just say in the early journal articles, whoever wrote them, the like how to be an successful affiliate was buy a dumbbell and get 1 client in your garage. Once that 1 client brings 2 clients, buy a kettlebell. Then once you have 5 clients, buy a rower. And I'm not like quoting them exactly, but we were supposed to be in industrial areas. So the business model is low rent and high tuition. So we're not supposed to be on State Street, and we're not supposed to look like F-45s. Like people are supposed to drive by us and be like, are people working out in that place? Like, what the heck was that? Right. And so the hard part is the fitness industry, the consumers of the fitness industry want a boutique experience. They want someone to hand them a towel as they walk in and know their name, and give them this heart rate monitor and like, right, like have this state of the art fancy equipment. And I'm not saying that that's wrong. I'm just saying from the early days, that's not what CrossFit set out to do. So they wanted a low barrier of entry. If you want to preach, if you want to coach and teach and share the message of CrossFit as an affiliate, come to a level 1 seminar, costs $1,000. If you pass the test, then you're going to be level 1. You're going to hold a level 1 certificate. It's not a certification. It's a certificate course. So once you hold the level 1 certificate, then you apply for an affiliate. And back in the day, it was $500. Now it's $3,000. So if you have $4,000 and you have some motivation, and you get approved to be an affiliate, you could be an affiliate owner. You don't even have to have a brick and mortar place. You can run an affiliate out of your backyard. And maybe that model is old, and they need to reevaluate and just like completely start over with their affiliate process. I don't know if I would be too upset about it, because unfortunately there are bad affiliates. We're not all the best affiliate, and I am not the best affiliate. I would like to consider myself at least on the the positive half. I mean, I got a lot to learn, and I just give a shit about every person that walks in my door, and I want to keep people safe. But there are people that care less about their members and that create an unsafe environment. So let's just say Susie Q walks into CrossFit XYZ, and well, I'm going to use Pocatello for example, and she has a terrible experience. 3 years later, she takes a job in Salt Lake City and she's wanting to get healthy and fit. She ain't going to look up CrossFit, and there's no chance she's coming into Salty Hive. So I would love if CrossFit headquarters required a little bit more of their affiliates. Like if they, even just one time a year, send somebody out to do an audit, what's the word I'm looking for? Like
just like a quality
assurance. Quality assurance. Like, okay, is your equipment safe? Like, is there always a level 1 trainer here? Like, who's the owner? Can I is he able to be contacted? And like maybe interview a couple of clients, like if there's any concerns, right? And if there's huge red flags, then CrossFit should come in and try to support that affiliate and help them figure some things out. Because I'm sure that affiliate owner didn't have the intentions of running a bad affiliate, right? And I'm sure that they would take their help. I mean, I'd take their help, and I feel like I have a pretty good community and a pretty good sense of what my community needs. I'm learning every day, and I got a lot of things to learn. But if they offered some more support, even if it costs me, I would consider that. Like I'd be happy to learn. I never took a business class. I never thought I'd own a business, so I'm learning all that as I go, and I learn every day as I coach. So that's as an affiliate owner, that's what I would love to see Dave do is
transition.
Create a little bit more like specific expectations and accountabilities within the affiliates, and then just a little bit more support.
And it sounds like it's just like they're on the macro scale of like what you just explained. You know, now you have a business you're learning, right? So CrossFit set it up so basically it was super low barrier to get in, and that's the way they can grow so fast, right? Because it's an easy entry, so they grow super fast. But it doesn't seem like they made that transition from, okay, now we're a huge company. We need to go back and redo some structure and make sure we're operating at a level that this type of company needs to operate and what we need to offer and whatnot, and kind of change that process, because it was a great way to get off the ground. But then you're going to run into, issues, and you're going to have a spokesperson that says something they're not supposed to say when you have way too big of a platform. You're going to have affiliates that are frustrated because they don't have, like you said, like how cool would it be if they had just a quality assurance? Because nowadays there's going to be like you take 5 people and maybe 2 of them, like there's going to be one person that maybe has gone to a CrossFit and had a bad experience and is like, I don't go there because of that. So now the marketing they're paying for is like, you might actually push a couple people away that would have walked through your door. So they just got big super fast. And that just made me more aware of that in that sense, because like I've seen other companies like locally here in town that just grow too fast and don't set up the infrastructure. And then they run into problems that are major, which is what CrossFit's running into right now.
For sure. And I think that happens on the affiliate level. I believe so much, and Pat Sherwood says this all the time, like you don't need to be a great programmer to get the benefits of CrossFit. Like if you're just working hard and you're moving mostly well, you're going to get fit. So I think that whole headquarters grew faster than they expected and faster than they could control. Happens on the affiliate level. Like, okay, like I'm going to start a box. I've got like 25 friends. They're going to come in, and then next month there's 50. And it's like, I've opened up all these classes, and I don't have another coach. So I'm coaching all these classes, and I'm trying to manage all these memberships. And I mean, there's a lot that goes on the back end of owning a business. And then the next month, maybe you got 55. And then in 6 months, you're 75, 80. And it's like, holy shit. I thought I was just going to train a handful of people and like have fun doing this. But now I'm running a legit small business, and I don't know how, right? Like, And so I don't know if that, I would hate, I guess my thought right now is part of the affiliate process should be that you have some type of like business understanding, because when I applied for Salty Hive to change the name from New Life, from CrossFit New Life, I didn't have any business understanding, and I've just learned as I go. I think the thing that has made me, I don't want to say successful, but that's made me be able to continue to improve is my humility. Like I know what I don't know, and I try to ask for help as much as I can. I am pretty particular, like I want things done a certain way, so I do have a hard time delegating, but I don't have a hard time like asking someone to help me out. I guess I'm getting better at that. So the other thing that I think is asked backwards, and I could only hope that somebody hears this that can do something with it, is CrossFit has these 10+ year affiliate gatherings. Like, to me, they should focus on the first year affiliates, not the affiliates that have been around for 10 years. And yeah, they should reward those affiliates that have been around for 10 years, like with like a party. But these 10+ year affiliate gatherings are like, there's big seminars, and Greg used to give a State of the Union address. And me as an affiliate owner, I wasn't invited to that. And they did send out like bullet points of what happened, but it would have been nice that if they would have like videoed that shit and sent it out.
Yeah.
Like that. And so
you needed them, like the newer people are going to benefit the most from it, really.
Yeah. The 10-year affiliates arguably have shit figured out because they've been around for 10 years.
Yeah.
It's the 1, 2, 3 year or the brand new affiliates that need some support and direction. And I don't want to say that doesn't exist at all, but from what I know, those affiliate groups that do exist to support all affiliates are just locally. Like it would be like Salt Lake's affiliates owners get together and they like have a call to like how they can support each other. But that's not coming from headquarters.
That's set up by you guys in town or whatever.
Yeah. And I mean, there's an affiliate support person, and they've always been fairly responsive via email when I've reached out to them and stuff. And my whole experience rebranding from CrossFit New Life to Salty Hive CrossFit was beautiful. Like I couldn't have been happier with how headquarters treated me, the responsiveness and the timeliness behind all that. I was unsure at that point. What, like, should I keep an affiliate? Because at that time, like I hadn't even owned the business for a year, like 3, well, it was 4. Well, I don't want to put numbers out there. It was pricey with the affiliate fee and my yearly insurance. But I was like, and that whole experience, I remember telling Trish, like that whole thing confirmed why I want to be a part of this organization. They treated me with respect. They were responsive. They've been great. We went out there. So we got our level 2s at the ranch in Aromas, California.
Yeah.
And Trish was the one that convinced me. She's like, let's just go to headquarters and see like what's going on. It's right around the corner. Anyway, I was like almost CrossFitted out the weekend. I'm like, I'm just trying to chill at the beach. Like, let's just hang out. Anyway, we ended up going, and we ran into Kerry Hare is his name. At the time, he was the building manager. He kind of oversaw what happened within the building at CrossFit HQ in Santa Clara. Anyway, I told him the situation that I took over an affiliate on like business paper, and that I wanted to put the affiliate in my name, and like got a little bit of feedback. Should I change the name? What would be the process? And then he referred me to someone specifically on the affiliate support team. And so that experience going out to HQ, seeing all the stuff that they were doing, giving free classes to the underserved, like they're bringing in free people. And in my world, the best trainers in the world, level 4 seminar staff trainers, are giving free CrossFit to people that they've identified as risk for I think of the word disease, chronic illness. So a lot of elderly people, a lot of people that are dealing with obesity, they've just opened their doors. And I think at the time they were offering 4 hours every day completely free for that population. And at the time, I'm like, why doesn't CrossFit publicize this shit?
That's what I was going to say. You don't hear any of that.
No. And that's just how they've always been kind of secretive. They aren't transparent about the good or the bad. Yeah. Like and then you hear kind of through the grapevines, like the affiliates that have been around for a long time and that are tied into HQ, the way they talk about it is like, yeah, you should be offering free classes to the underserved population at your gym too. And it's like, I wish, like, give me some type of information on how to do that. How do I identify those people?
How does it make sense? Yeah.
Like
systems. Give me a system.
Yeah. Yeah, give me the system that you use. Don't give me, like, I don't expect you to come to Salt Lake and do all the back end work, but share with me the information that was successful for you all to do that. And how do you make, I hate to say it this way, but how do you make business sense? Like, Salty Hive CrossFit is putting food on my table, and I hope that someday will give me the opportunity to put a roof that I own over my head, right? Like, it's my business. It is my livelihood. And so, like, I get that it's not, and I chose that. I'm not complaining. I consciously chose that, and I love it, and I'm proud of it. But I would just appreciate, I guess, more support and more transparency from HQ. I don't think it would be that hard. I'm sure there are people out there that would volunteer to be like the liaison between the Utah affiliates and HQ. Like identify. I don't, like, to me, my first thought is whoever owns Ute right now. They've been around for a long time. They got all sorts of backing. I don't even know them, but from my eyes, they have a good community. They're a respectful gym. Like, HQ should contact them and see if they want to be the affiliate liaison for Utah. If he doesn't want to do it, then I'll do it. Like, I don't, like, right. Yeah. I know and I know I'm not number 2 on that list. Like, Salt Lake City CrossFit, Justin Dickinson would be a great liaison. And he's got all sorts of people that work underneath him that I'm sure, step into that. And I don't want to speak for them. I don't know. I don't even know if they're remaining affiliated. I am for now. Like, and it's because CrossFit's all I've ever known. And that's why I'm so loyal to it. Like, to me it's disrespectful and the opposite of loyal to program things like Fran and Fike on Bad and Murph without giving the credit to CrossFit. Like, all that I know about fitness and movement is credited to CrossFit and all the mentors that I've come into contact, Brad and Dustin Hawkins and you and Dylan. I mean, I know I'm missing more. Casey Spencer, all my coaches here. Like, however, when I have a question, or like I read the level 1 for the 3rd time again this during COVID, and every time I read that shit, I learn something new. So I've chosen personally to not take on any more information outside of CrossFit because I don't yet know everything there is to know about CrossFit. Like, CrossFit is there's a breadth and depth of information. And so I don't discredit anything else, but I've just chosen to focus on one thing, and that's CrossFit. And until I feel like, and to me, one of my goals has been to work on the seminar staff, like to be a red shirt, to be a seminar staff member. So that would be, until I'm there, until I'm teaching this shit for CrossFit, I got more to learn. So it's like, I've taken gymnastic course that wasn't specifically addressed to CrossFit. I've done some weightlifting courses. There are endless great things out there, but personally, I choose to learn as much as I can about CrossFit because that's what I do, and that's what I believe in, I guess.
Yeah, and so I think that's why I wanted to talk to you, is because I feel like, some people probably more have the vision of, Greg Glassman is CrossFit, but obviously CrossFit isn't just Greg Glassman. And when you hear like the passion in your voice, you're not talking about Greg. It's not Greg. It's like Greg was just, a big part of it, but now, a lot of people are connected to that style of training. There's a lot of great people within the organization. Like they'd be lucky to have someone like you on the staff because, I mean, you've always you were just passionate about it and want to master it. So yeah, it's interesting. I just see a lot of people reacting right away. Like they said, like 1,250 affiliates have already said they're going to de-affiliate.
Well, yeah, and I don't care if I piss somebody off, but here's my just honest opinion with that. To de-affiliate is more than an Instagram post.
Yeah.
Regardless of what I'm telling people or posting on social media, I'm an affiliate of CrossFit until October when my affiliate fee is up. It's a yearly subscription. So I can paint my walls and burn up all my shirts and post on Instagram, but at the end of the day, I'm still a CrossFit affiliate. And then the other layer to that is my training and the certificates that allow me to coach come from the organization of CrossFit. And so do all my coaches. And I think for most of my coaches, I've helped pay for some of that. So,
yeah.
So there's a larger decision that I have to make rather than posting my de-affiliation on Instagram. Like I try to not make rash decisions like that. So I've sat back. I've already started to weigh the pros and cons. And this is another thing. I'm going to be a little bit vulnerable, and people can judge me if they want. But a big part of me doesn't want to have to de-affiliate because it would be a pain in my ass. Like I just went through a rebranding effort to change the name from CrossFit New Life to Salty Hive CrossFit. Like, and I know that sounds like that sounds bad. Like I know, if you're listening to that, there's part of you that's like, well, that's no reason to not. But there's more reasons than that. Like it would mean me getting a new certification somewhere, training all my coaches in something else, rebranding, changing everything that I just went through to change. And at this point, I still believe in CrossFit. I've never really had a relationship with Greg Glassman. I believe in his teachings and his philosophies, but I don't know him as a person, and I don't know where his moral compass lies.
Yeah.
So I'm not gonna make a judgment on somebody that I don't know. What I do know is all his teachings and all his fitness philosophies I believe in. And so, and that is CrossFit. Not like CrossFit is constantly varied functional movements performed with intensity, and eating meat and vegetables, nuts and seeds, some fruit, little starch, no sugar. And it's the sickness to wellness to fitness continuum. And it's the philosophy of the Hopper method. Like all those things are CrossFit. Who came up with those things? Greg Glassman. So I realized that they're closely intertwined.
Yeah. So would you say, so with that in mind, it's like, so a lot of these affiliates, they're not going to stop training that way, right? They're just going to de-affiliate. They're not going to be affiliated with the CrossFit, but they're still going to use the methodology.
Let me finish one thing I failed to mention. So if them posting on Instagram is their way of putting their foot down, saying we're done with CrossFit as it is now, and if nothing changes, we will de-affiliate, then that's great. And if their choice to say that they've de-affiliated is just a conscious decision to be clear in their lack of support for Greg and racism and everything else that might be involved with that decision, then that's awesome. And then when push comes to shove, they're going to make a decision whether or not they want to stay an affiliate or not. Or they have I think the affiliates that have been around for a long time and that have witnessed more poor leadership than I have, that's what I think happened with Khalipa and some of those guys that have been around forever and that have been frustrated with CrossFit for a long time. This was like the straw that broke the camel's back. that like, all right, that's it. I'm done. I don't need CrossFit. I don't like NC Fit. They don't like, Jason doesn't even use the word CrossFit. He has his whole own ordeal. He's got like his own organization and company. He's not me. He's not a mom and pop brick and mortar CrossFit gym. Like I don't have an organization. I don't even have a W-2 employee. I'm a sole proprietorship. It's just me and my 1099 coaches. So like I need CrossFit. Jason Khalipa doesn't.
Yeah.
Like I need an organization like CrossFit. I guess let me rephrase that. So, I feel like I failed to mention that. It could be their way of speaking up and saying like racism isn't okay, so we de-affiliate. Like that, if that's their message, great. Also, if this is just the last straw and they're fed up with it and it's been a long time coming, then that's okay too. But at this point, I don't want to give up on CrossFit. Like CrossFit to me isn't Greg Glassman. It's more Jason Fernandez, who runs Best Hour of Their Day. He puts out amazing podcasts. If any coaches are interested, Best Hour of Their Day is a podcast I listen to multiple times a week. It's Jason Ackerman. He's the other one. It's Ben Bergeron. It's Pat Sherwood. It's Dave Castro now, right? Like I've met Dave Castro multiple times. I've met Greg once, but like he ain't gonna remember. Like I shook his hand and took a picture with him at the game. I mean, I've been to Dave's ranch. Like I've pet Dave's dog. Like Dave's shown me hospitality before. Yeah. So it's like I'm excited that Dave's the new CEO because at the end of the day, I have more of a relationship with Dave. He doesn't know who I am, and he shouldn't. But I've had interactions, and I've at least like he made it a point to be there to greet every level 2 participant when we were at his ranch. Like to me, that's the kind of person that I want leading, right? Yeah. And I don't know. I'm sure Greg did that kind of shit too, but I can't speak to that. Like, I'm not like OG like that.
What and real quick, last quick, like here's one thing I want to hear from you because of your stance on it and whatnot. So as Dave comes into it, A, do you think the CrossFit Games will ramp back up to what it was? 2, is CrossFit Games part of CrossFit methodology, or is that a whole nother beast that's come from?
What was your first question? Sorry, I'm trying to text Trish.
Will the CrossFit Games come back to what they were going to be, or what the old style that Dave Castro kind of had before Greg Glassman kind of put that aside, right? That's what was my understanding was Greg didn't want it, and that was like Dave's baby, right? And then
from my understanding, Greg didn't want that to be the focus of HQ.
Gotcha.
I think that's obvious. My guess is that they convinced him to keep the games. Like, let's get rid of regionals. Let's keep the open and the games and let the community do the rest. And I don't know. I don't know how that conversation went down. But like, I think that Greg could care less about the CrossFit Games.
Yeah, for sure.
He's said that he's called it a circus before. He's called it the Woodstock of fitness, a celebration. To him, it's more about the health. It's about curing chronic illness and helping those people that need it.
Which and what I get from you is that's more what you identify with.
Yeah, for sure. I mean,
more so than like a competitive CrossFit. Yeah.
I mean, I have close to 100 people that come into my gym. I want to say 10 of them have muscle ups. Like, right. Like 50 of them can do a toe push up, like full range. Like I'm not here to train. I'd love to train competitors. I have a handful of people that want to get good. Like I do both things. Like I don't think it needs to be either or. But so to answer your question, I think that's a loaded question. I think what stands in the CrossFit Games, what stands in the way of the CrossFit Games more than Greg is COVID-19.
That's going to be a weird year for it, right?
Yeah.
But I was just wondering if the structure would come back because I know a couple out. There's a great athlete here in town that's just really confused on, what's the best route right now. or like, is it ever going to be what it was? It's harder. It's probably harder to qualify now even than it was before.
Not in my opinion, if you want to be a competitor, you should be singing the praises of Greg getting rid of regionals, because there is upwards to 30 sanctionals. There was 6 regionals, so 30.
So more opportunity.
Way more, and the top level athletes are making way more money. Like Dubai, I think their paycheck was close to the games. So wow. Fraser won 2 CrossFit games, not just one.
Yeah. So it actually is better.
For sure. And Loud and Live, all the things that they're doing, Wadapalooza, Granite Games, Mayan Classic,
yeah.
I know they do more. Loud and Live puts on a better competition, a better event than CrossFit ever could. And like, yeah. I don't mean any offense to that, but they're event planners. They're like party throwers, and they know what they're doing when it comes to fitness. So in terms of where the competitive world is, they're not the ones that need to be worried. And that's not what Dave should be worried about. He's going to do the Open, in my opinion. He's going to keep doing the Open, and he's going to keep doing the games. And yeah. the community will take everything else. What CrossFit needs to focus on is the affiliates. I think that should be priority number 1.
And maybe that'll get pushed to the front now with this whole situation and all these people saying that. It's like, okay, our first priority is how do we show these people that we are ready to support them, or at least like make sure we have a very clear stance on, you know, who you're affiliating with and what we believe in and whatnot. So
for sure. I think I don't know how, like, what their income looks like, but I mean, I think they have 200,000 affiliates. You times that by, let's just average it out to 2,000. That's a chunk of change.
Oh, that's a chunk of change. Hell yeah.
So I can't do the math that fast, but that's a chunk of change. So I think that business-wise, they should focus on keeping as many affiliates as they can for that reason. The next part of their income comes from the training department, level 1s, level 2s, level 1s mostly, because the class size is bigger. They're the same price, but it's twice the size. 40 participants in a level 1, 20 participants in a level 2. But where do you think that those level 1 participants come from? The affiliates mostly, right?
Yeah, like, gauging interest or hey,
I have an athlete that wants to coach, and so I send that athlete to go get their level 1. The most of the training participants aren't coming off the street, aren't coming from an Instagram post, aren't coming from CrossFit.com. They're coming from the affiliates. So if you want to save your affiliate fees and your training clientele, I guess you better support your affiliates. Because like right now they've done enough to wrap me in, but I expect more for sure.
Yeah.
And I think that's where the power lies in the affiliates. Is now's the time for us to stand up and ask for more. If we've ever had a time where
now's the time. Yeah.
Our voice can be heard, it would be now. Like, don't leave. Leave if you want to, whatever.
Gotcha.
But if you're going to stay, this is a better way to say that. If you're going to stay, take this opportunity to ask for more. I should have already sent the affiliate support team emails asking questions, and they're probably not going to get back to me because they got so much shit going on right now.
Yeah.
But it's like the squeaky wheel gets the grease, you know. I think that should be a goal of mine, is to reach out to headquarters sometime today or by the end of this week, and just explain that I got their back, and I hope that they're able to make it through this. And 2, I expect more. Like, I expect more transparency. God, even like send us an email once a week from HQ, from Dave, titled like "Love you all, Dave Castro." Like, I don't even care if he wrote it or not. I don't even care if it's just like a link to CrossFit.com. But like something little like that would go a long way. They sent me a Christmas card with a sticker. That's cool.
Yeah.
I mean, like I guess I don't mean to downplay that. Like they could have not sent me a Christmas card. But I'd like to be involved more. And I know that there's other affiliates out there that love CrossFit, that want to do more for HQ, that want to improve their gyms, and that would love to do more for HQ.
Yeah.
But we don't know. I guess I don't know how, besides.
Well, I think it starts with just like you said, man. Everybody just takes that step, like an affiliate, all the affiliates reach out right now and just say, hey, we got your back, but we expect more. I think that's a great way to like start the conversation of let's get this moving forward. And we're like not all just de-affiliating. Like we're here to, let's figure it out.
Yeah.
So,
yeah, the analogy I use with the de-affiliation is we've had bad leaders in America.
You don't just leave. Yeah.
I don't see anyone moving to Canada, bro. Like, right? Like you stuck with it. You're hopeful for the future. People make mistakes and changes are made. People made a mistake. A change was made. Like the same way people believe in the values of America. This is the same way I believe in the values of CrossFit. And so I hope that Dave's a better CEO than Greg was.
Yeah. Well, thanks for hopping on, dude. I think we could have to do another one, and we could even go into not just about CrossFit, but just about training and
I love this stuff. I think we should make this more of a habit. Just talking about whatever. Hopefully, more like exciting, fun stuff rather than like turmoil and So, good luck with everything up there, dude.
It's going great. We're growing. It's good. I'm in the process now of like same as you, like you just learn as a business, and it's like, how do I bring on great coaches? Like that's the hard part, right? So, cause you can't duplicate yourself or you don't have all the time in the day. So how do you start bringing on coaches that can,
let's segue that into our next hour together is like talking about what you value in a coach and how you found it to be effective to train them.
Let's do it. That'll be our next one. So People listening to this, get ready for that. If you are an affiliate owner, think about how you're going to, try to not just jump off ship, but maybe create progress within the brand. If you love the brand and the methodology and all the information that's given you and power it's given you to help other people. And
if you're an affiliate owner and you want to shoot the shit, hit me up because I don't have all the answers. I'd love to get your perspective and like know what you're doing.
Yeah, and I'll link you up on all the show notes. So just send me over, what you want linked up and a picture of you, and we'll get that on the episode. So
right on, dude.
Cool, man. Thanks. Have a great day, and we'll catch up soon.
Peace.
See you, buddy. Thanks for tuning in, guys. Hopefully that was beneficial. That was Justin Zizumbo. He owns Salty Hype CrossFit in Salt Lake. Give it a look or check it out if you are in the area. Appreciate supporting. Make sure to hit the website, check out the blog, podcast, and our world-class coaching course. And stay tuned for the next episode. Already got that lined up. And have a great day.